The ABC has reported findings from a New South Wales drug inquiry recommending decriminalising drug use and possession.
For more on this, it's time for a closer look.
Hi, I'm Jesse. Our media report details how the Council assisting the New South Wales Special Commission of Inquiry into ICE has recommended decriminalising personal drug use and possession. The term decriminalisation is used to refer to the removal or non-enforcement of criminal penalties for simple possession offences. Decriminalisation is not the same as legalisation. In the case of legalisation, it is lawful to manufacture, produce, or trade drugs in a legitimate market. In contrast, decriminalisation of simple possession does not involve the decriminalisation of other drug offences, such as supply and manufacture. Under a decriminalisation model, if a person is detected carrying drugs for personal use, the drugs are confiscated. Let's have a look at the current law surrounding drug use and possession and any potential reforms. In Victoria, drug possession and use are both criminalised under Sections 73 and 75 of the Drugs, Poisons and Controlled Substances Act. Similarly, in New South Wales, drug possession and use are criminalised under Sections 10 and 12, respectively, of the Drug Misuse and Trafficking Act. This special commission was established in response to the deaths of 6 young adults who attended music festivals in New South Wales between 2017 and 2019, indicating that the current stance of criminal law towards use and possession of drugs has failed to significantly impact the prevalence of illicit drug use in New South Wales. As detailed in the report, approximately $7.3 billion worth of crystal methamphetamine is consumed per year in Australia. Federal and state law enforcement bodies have been unable to reduce the supply and production of amphetamine-type stimulants in New South Wales. While the criminalisation of possession is intended to reduce the supply and demand for drugs, it is increasingly being recognised that it does not achieve these goals. Consequently, a more appropriate response to drug use might be to recognise it primarily as a health issue rather than a criminal justice issue.
G'day, my name's James. As Jesse already alluded to, the second important point to note from the article are the issues arising from treating drug use and possession as a criminal rather than as a health problem. So, the New South Wales inquiry, which is behind that news article, emphasises that drug use and possession laws should be founded on health considerations rather than punitive criminal ones. And this is because a suite of issues arise from the current approach of criminalisation. Number one, disproportionate harm is inflicted on users and possessors, particularly our Indigenous Australians. So the inquiry referenced in the article notes that criminalisation is undoubtedly associated with adverse impacts on employment, earning prospects, access to housing, access to treatment, relationships and well-being. It's also a powerful source of stigma, which has a serious impact on the physical and mental health of users and possessors and their willingness to seek help. And all of these issues are magnified in the context of our Indigenous Australians being attributed to excessively high rates of recidivism. The second big issue is the exacerbation of drug dependence rather than rehabilitation. So the inquiry acknowledges that drugs are readily available and widely used in New South Wales prisons, with inmates regularly consuming all types of drugs. Therefore, sending offenders to prison for drug use may not result in their rehabilitation. Rather, it might exacerbate the issue, and exacerbating the issue is hardly consistent with the predominant purpose of Victoria's criminal law to protect Victorians. The third big issue is that criminalisation is arguably out of step with accepted current community attitudes. So the most recent National Drug Strategy Household Survey shows that over 74% of Australians believe that possession of drugs, and in particular cannabis, should be decriminalised. Now, whilst we understand that cannabis is only one illicit drug, and arguably the least damaging one to the community, it still provides an important snapshot into the community's evolving attitudes in favour of reform. It is plausible, therefore, that the New South Wales inquiry's recommendation for decriminalisation had these same evolving community attitudes in mind when drafting the inquiry.
Hi, I'm Chris. As Jesse pointed out the current laws around drug use and possession, and James spoke about issues associated with the current approach, I'm going to look at the key recommendations that came from the New South Wales inquiry that were outlined in the ABC article. The New South Wales report made over 100 recommendations about lots of different aspects of drug use and criminalisation. Overall, the report encouraged moving away from a penalty approach to drug possession and emphasised the need to view drug possession and use as a health and social issue. Some specific recommendations for reforming drug possession laws included carving out exceptions for pill testing at festivals, widespread drug education programs at school and health centres, a safe syringe program at prisons, and police reporting when drug possession is connected to another criminal offence. As Jesse noted, right now, the simple possession of a drug of dependence is an offence punishable by imprisonment in both Victoria and New South Wales. So the most significant recommendation was to fully decriminalise drug possession. If the recommendations are accepted, instead of being charged with possession, a person found with drugs in New South Wales will be referred to a health service. In Victoria, the 2018 parliamentary inquiry into drug law reform echoed the same sort of recommendations as the New South Wales report, also emphasising a shift towards treating drug use as a social issue rather than criminal behaviour, but didn't go as far as recommending decriminalisation, saying Victoria should maintain all current drug offences. Both the Victorian and New South Wales governments have responded to the recommendations by saying they will balance health with law enforcement, which is a pretty unsubtle hint that tough on crime policies and support for strong laws on illicit substances is popular. New South Wales even released a memo saying they will continue to strictly enforce possession laws, not introduce pill testing, not offer syringes at prison, and not expand safe injecting rooms, the opposite of many recommendations. So far, drug possession laws look like they will stay in their current form for now, but with the focus being on improved treatment and education.